Hello, my name is Shuji. I'm at Australia Scrivener in Tokyo. So I would like to talk about 5 reasons why your Japan permanent residency may rejected. So here's why permanent residency application get rejected. First off, the approval rate of the permanent residency is set to be around 50%. So unfortunately, about 1 out of every 2 people ends up getting denied. Now you might be wondering what kind of things cause people to get rejected. I've listed some of most common reasons here and I would like to go through them one by one. Alright, first up is annual income. Specifically, if your income is less than 3 million yen a year, you've probably heard about this income requirement before. And yes, the basic rule is that you need to be earning at least 3 million yen annually. On top of that, if you have dependents, like a spouse who doesn't work, you will need it to add around 700,000 yen per person to that amount. Let's say you are a foreign national and your wife is a full-time homemaker. If the two of you are applying for permanent residency together, then your requirement income will be 3 million yen plus 700,000 yen, 3.7 million yen. If you're earning less than that, your application will be likely denied. Also, if you are applying for a working visa status, like you're engineer or specialist in humanities, immigration will look at your income over the past 5 years. In your case, you would need it to be earning 3.7 million yen or more every year for 5 years straight to meet the requirements. Next up is exclusive time, spending outside Japan. Just to clarify, the basic requirement for the permanent residency is that you need to have lived in Japan for 10 years. There are some exceptions like highly skilled professionals or spouse of Japanese nationals, but for most people, it's 10 years. Now, here's people get tripped up. During those 10 years, you spent more than 6 months abroad in any given year. Your residency clock gets reset, so you really have to be careful. To be more specific, if you're out of Japan for about 6 months in a year, there's a good chance that your application will be rejected. That said, if there's solid reason for your time abroad, immigration may accept it. For example, maybe you had a year with a lot of business trip overseas. That can be okay as long as you're explaining it properly in written statement. But if you don't have a good reason, like if you just went back to your home country with no real explanation, it's very likely to be application will be denied. Alright, next is issue of unpaid or late payment for pension, health insurance, and taxes. For pension and health insurance, immigration will check your payment record for the past 2 years. So of course, just being enrolled isn't enough. You also need to make sure you haven't missed single payment. Even one late payment in those 2 years can get your application rejected. As for the taxes, they will usually check your record for the past 5 years. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're late even once on your taxes during that 5-year period, there's a real risk your application be denied. Next up is traffic violations. And honestly, this catches a lot of people off guard. If you have ever had your driver's license suspended, you're needed to wait 5 full years after the suspension ends before you get approved for the permanent residency. So if you have had a suspension in the past, be extra careful. Just think of it this way. You'll be eligible for 5 years after the suspension is lifted. And lastly, let's talk about illegal work activities by your partner. So for example, if you're applying for the permanent residency as a family, your spouse might be on dependent visa and working part-time for permissions for activity outside their visa status. Permission is only allowed us 28 hours of part-time work per week. But in reality, there are quite a few people who goes over that limit and earn more than they're legally allowed to. The problem is, if your partner violates those conditions, it can actually affect your own application too, even though you're main applicant. This is something that you definitely want to watch out for. So that wraps up my explanation for the most common reason why permanent residency gets denied. As long as you're following these key points carefully, there's a good chance that your application will be approved. Before you apply, make sure to double check everything we've talked about today. If you have watched this video and want to have consultation personally, contact my website from down below. Message me through contact. Thank you for watching.